So, when you first got involved with EMR,
Mhm.
this is when? Back in?
My first brush with EMR was 1991.
Okay, 91, because
Right.
you founded GMed in 97, right?
Exactly.
Thereabout. So, 91, let's paint a picture. What was it like back then? What inspired you to get more directly involved? And what do you think it is today?
Back then, everybody thought an EMR was a billing system.
Okay.
And so the billing systems were it. At that point, ultrasound was coming into the picture, and I had an idea that if I were to build a computer program that allowed me to report all ultrasound parameters for OBG tests, we would have a tool that allowed us not only to generate these reports, but also to mine this data. That was a very advanced concept then, and everybody thought, wow, this is EMR now. So it went from billing systems to procedure or test reporting systems. Perhaps in 1994, 1995, people started understanding that these programs could also record patient encounters.
Right.
It went all the way up to 2000, where they understood that these systems also needed to record workflow and communication. So inbound faxes and inbound lab results and tasking and workflow and things like that. That definition continued evolving until today, where you see that people want, or physicians want, an application that allows them to record everything they need to do in the patient encounter, record all the patient's order and medications, standardize all this information, and where it's heading into a place where all this will be standardized in such a fashion that you will be able to deposit health funds somewhere, meaning your health information, in an ATM in Louisville, Kentucky,
right,
and come over to Florida and sit down with your cardiologist, who's going to click a button and withdraw.
And bam!
Right, withdraw the funds from the computer that was sitting out there in Louisville, Kentucky, with all your patient data in there, because all of it is normalized. Now, normalization is very tough because, again, medicine is also an art and a science. And the art part is very hard to normalize.
So, I've heard so many physicians say, gosh, I hope I can retire before I have to go to EMR. Why do you think there's that is, for some folks, for some groups, why do you think there's that feeling out there? What do you think?
It's very clear. There's two reasons why people don't buy EMR. One is the EMRs are very expensive, and the second one is they're very afraid of change. They've been doing things for the longest time. They see a lot of patients. They're actually pressured to release patients soon so that they can see the next one, so that they can bring in enough funds. And they need to keep, both the organization flowing well and the patient well taken care of. They feel the EMR being a hindrance. Now, why is it a hindrance? Technology today is only catching up to ergonomics, meaning to the ability for people to use these computers. I mean, the human interfaces, the human way to interact with computers is still a little bit quirky. Not everybody feels very comfortable with a keyboard. The pen recognition systems are really not up to speed. Voice recognition systems are 98% accurate. That's 1 out of every 50 words it messes up, and it takes a lot of time to fix it.
Which is a great point, because 1 out of 50, 98 sounds pretty good, at least on the back of a box for somebody that's using that type of product in an office environment that has the patience, has the time to deal with it. Maybe it's faster than typing, but 1 out of 50 words being wrong, that's your note. That can be frustrating.
That's why they're concerned. Imagine these people seeing physicians. There are people too. Seeing 4 or 5 patients an hour. They got to see a patient every 10 minutes. They have a wealth of information in their head.
Right.
They have to fill out a form that Medicare has told them, look, you've got 1,000 things you need to fill out in there, and you have to, in that process, also discern a history of present illness, which is a full history of the disease and the conditions, and they have to figure out a treatment plan Now I have to record it in a normalized fashion with a set of tools that really don't think as fast as I do. So
That's the key. I mean, everybody can outthink what they can do on a computer. I mean, even for folks that use them all day, every day, they don't have those same time constraints.
correct.
You know, that's one of the challenges, I think, for sure.
That is the actual challenge. That's what they basically say, look, I hope I can retire because I don't think there's a computer system out there who can read my thoughts and put them on a computer and standardize all that information. And so I have to mechanically translate my thoughts into a computer that needs to have a way to do this. There are solutions to that,
Right.
but you really have to be very careful about how you design your EMR to allow that office to practice at the speed of thought and not at the speed of mechanics.
At the speed of thought, that's the key, right? So, speaking of economics, a minute ago, I mean, we all know that EMR, it's an investment, it's a significant investment. I mean, how does the ROI work out in the real world? I mean, what do you tell to someone that says, you know, gosh, it's just not clear cut? What are the factors?
Sure. There are several things to consider in regards to ROI. Before high-tech came into place, which is essentially $44,000 per physician who adopts, there was the discussion of whether the EMR would eliminate transcription costs,
Right.
whether it would eliminate chart pull costs, and whether it would calculate your billing codes to the point where you would gain a little bit more revenue for your visits and eliminate compliance costs and things like that.
So big three, really, chart pulls, transcription, billing.
Correct.
I mean,
that's where the ROI.
I mean, that's really.
A lot of people would like to say, oh, it's going to decrease your staff time or administrative time. Every office really operates in a different way. So you can't basically put a formula that says you'll be able to eliminate so many people, but you will be able to eliminate transcription costs and chart pull costs, that's for sure. Unless you don't consider implementing an EMR without having the goal to become paperless, which is a big mistake in our opinion. So if you effectively become paperless, that's where the ROI is. Today with high tech, the ROI might also be in the incentives, provided you believe that those incentives are going to be there.
Good point.
Not everybody believes that the incentives are going to be there. We are believers. We firmly are comfortable with the fact that the state is aiming at the right target by trying to create universal interoperable systems that they should be funding. But combine your operational efficiencies, transcription cost elimination, your 5 to 12% increase in billing, depending on how you bill today,
Right.
with a $44,000 incentive, and I think you have a very compelling story.